We are today with Mette Mayli Albæk, journalist, Danish journalist and crime expert from Danish Broadcasting Corporation. She was part of a team of 4 and she wrote an amazing paper published on the last issue of CTC SENTINEL. So thank you for joining us, Mette.
Sure, thank you.
We're going to talk to you today about Basil Hassan. Basil Hassan, we can say, was a kind of ISIS Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Who was him and why he was so important for the story of European jihadists?
It's important because it shows how the foreign fighters from Western Europe traveled to ISIS and became important and big figures in ISIS, and it shows us how they were able to get drones from Europe to Iraq and Syria. And Basil Hassan was one of the most important person in the drone program in ISIS.
Because ISIS, we need to remind, use a lot of drones. I think that we can account more or less 200. And the purpose was a military purpose, actually.
Yes, and they start using drones already before ISIS were the ISIS we know later on. They started building up the drone program already in 2012, 2013, early 13, and Basil Hassan was one of the main characters in building up this program. And we know also from Danish trials against Basil Hassan's network here in Denmark that the drone program started as something maybe just for fun. They built their own drones, and it became more and more professional. So in 16 and 2017, ISIS were able to have a very professional drone program, almost as professional as the military.
Because he was an engineer, isn't it? Born in Denmark from a Lebanese family, isn't it? And how did he radicalize himself?
We still, I don't think we will ever be able to tell the true story about Basil Hassan because no one have spoke to him for so many years. Actually, we don't know if he's still alive or he is dead. He was a part of groups in Denmark who was very radicalized already back in 2008, 2009.
And this group was connected to the Bosnia environment.
Exactly. So we know that we know for sure that some of Basil Hassan's friends were already involved in another terrorism case back in the mid-10th. So we know that he's been around radicalized people for many years, and then he's the one being accused of trying to kill a very well-known Islam critical here in Denmark in 2013, and then he just disappeared the day of this attack. So the police in Denmark means that the police in Denmark think that Basil Hassan was the one trying to kill this Lars Hedegaard back in February 2013. And
then he moved to Syria through Turkey.
Yeah. So what we know is that the day of the attack in 13, he left Denmark by train to Germany, and then he left from Germany to Turkey, and then in and out from Turkey, Lebanon, and Syria for the next years.
We know that I'm sorry, I'm gonna edit here. I'm lost. Okay, we know that Jason Blazakis, the director of U.S. State Department Bureau of Counterterrorism, at the time of the designation, say that Basil Hassan is one of the most dangerous people we ever added to the terrorism list. What is interesting is that from Syria, he was able to plot a plot that hopefully didn't happen, but it was a really turning point in the story of a military strategy of ISIS. I'm referring to the Australia case. Can you just sum up what happened?
Yeah, there's still different stories about exactly what role Basil Hassan was playing in the Sydney plot, the case from Australia. But what we know for sure is that some intelligence service have been able to find out that from Syria, Basil Hassan arranged to send some test package from Syria to different countries, just to see how was it able to get into an airport with a package. So Basil Hassan and his group in Syria, they sent several packages to Great Britain, to US, to the Maldives, just to see what were they able to send through an airport. And several sources tells us that that move was a part of planning the Sydney plot, just to see what is able to get through the security check. What can you actually hide inside luggage and inside boxes to get on board on a plane?
We can say that this case is a kind of a Islamic State cyber coaching, because he was in Syria and never moved from there, but he was able to assess the people in Australia to prepare the first plot, and then when the plot, didn't work, they tried to the chemical way, let's say, because he tried to organize a chemical attack. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, there's still unfortunately, there are still great holes in the story about Basil Hassan and the Sydney plot. And even though there's been a trial in Australia against the two brothers who was accused of carrying out this attack, exactly what happened and when and who was behind those brothers, we don't know yet. But we know from a Danish trial against the network of Basil Hassan that while being in Syria, Basil Hassan was making, he was doing how to make a bomb recipes. And he was a part of the group in ISIS who did the chemical weapons also. So also because of his engineer background, he was one of the people in ISIS who was able to do these how to make a bomb recipes. And we also know that he was sharing these recipes with other ISIS members. And we have sources telling us that Basil Hassan was one of the people sending material to make bombs to these brothers in Australia.
Targeted plans and using chemical weapons is not new for terrorism. But in your opinion, why Basil Hassan was such a relevant figure in the external operation team of ISIS? Why his criminal mind is so important also for the future, to better understand and to prevent other attacks?
A lot of foreign fighters in the ISIS went to Syria because they wanted to be in the front line. They want to be a part of the war. Basil Hassan is an example of one of the brains in ISIS. He was well educated. He had the engineer skills. He had a very big network in all of Western. He had a big network in Europe. He was able to get a package from Denmark to Syria directly with drones and other stuff. So he was very dangerous because Danish police, Danish intelligence service, no one could get him out of Syria. They could just follow him, follow his work in Syria and see how he was managed to use his network all over the world. And that was or is very dangerous, of course.
The caliphate doesn't exist anymore. We don't know if Basil is still alive or not. What do you think about the future for your country in terms of jihadist threats? Do you think that Basil Hassan or someone like him can come back? Or you think that the next generation of jihadists will just turn the page?
So that is the $1 million question, because the intelligence service have been talking about that problem for years now. Foreign fighters returning to Denmark, to Europe, to other countries. We haven't seen in Northern Europe yet that returning foreign fighters were dangerous in that way, that they haven't. We haven't seen any cases with foreign fighters planning anything when they come back, and we have a very great intelligence service here in Denmark who taking care of the foreign fighters who are returning. And often they manage to get them in exit programs, and they're keeping an eye with them. Our luck in Denmark is that we are such a small country. Our population is 5 million people, and we've got like maximum 150 foreign fighters. I think we say that 70 of them are returning, and a lot of the returns are very old, meaning that they came back maybe in 14, 15, and so with that less, because we don't have that many foreign fighters returning, it's possible for the intelligence service to actually keep an eye on them. It's very different in France, with maybe 1,000 or 2,000 returns. So the intelligence also scaled down how afraid of foreign fighters and returned foreign fighters they are, but there's still a big threat against Denmark from Islamists and Islamist terror, also because of our history in Denmark, because we had the big cartoon crisis with the Mohammed drawings back from 2005. And that's still haunting us. So there are still Islamists and people from especially the Middle East who wants to do bad things against Denmark because of the Mohammed cartoons, actually.
Thank you so much, Mette.
Sure. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.